And we are joined right now by the former Attorney General of the United States, Mr. Michael Mukasey. And Mr. Attorney General, how are you doing, sir?
Good to be here.
Thank you very much. Okay, you wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal that they titled "Leaking Secrets Empowers Terrorists." So many people have raised so many concerns about what we have found out from Mr. Snowden, and you say basically that these programs are okay and we need not worry.
Well, we need not worry about the programs. I'm worried sick about the leaks.
Right.
But yes, they're perfectly lawful and entirely reasonable under the circumstances. All that's happening here is that information is being sifted. The things like the date and time of telephone calls by the millions are being sifted with no attention paid to virtually all of it and it's the computers who are doing the sifting, not human beings, in order to get at the one or two numbers and relationships that they're interested in, and as to that, they build basically a map of who it is who is calling terrorists and who they're calling, and then hone in on who they're interested in.
Why not then target, if we know who's calling terrorists by the numbers? Why not then just hone in on the numbers? I mean, a lot of people are under the impression that the Patriot Act, and if you remember the scrutiny that George W. Bush was under, and his administration, and you as well, and all of you, when you were talking about getting warrants for listening in on conversations between suspected terrorists or known terrorists and American citizens, the call coming or going either way, in or out of the country. I mean, they went nuts on the left. So I thought the Patriot Act basically gave us the authority to go after suspected terrorists as opposed to gathering information on just about every single American.
Well, in order to gather information, you have to gather it from someplace. You gather it from the vast sea of data that's out there, and you pick out the stuff that interests you. To say that you have to immediately home in on the one or two numbers that will be of interest when you don't know in advance what they are, I think is pretty obviously impossible.
All right, and before we get to the leaker himself, let's talk about the fact that he had the capability to do what he did. Now he's exaggerated, according to many, that he had the authority. He used the word authority. Obviously, he didn't have the authority to check the president's emails if he had the address. That's insane. He said he did, but he had the capability, in a criminal manner, of doing what he did and getting involved in all this kind of information. And it makes you wonder how many people with working, a high school dropout working for a company that's involved with the national security, swearing to take an oath. How many people are in there that might have nefarious intentions and have access to this kind of information?
Well, the short answer, I believe, is not many. He was working as essentially a techie, the guy who makes connections in order for people who then study the information to get the information and look at it. He's kind of like the guy who installs your telephone. Now, he has the ability, if he's dishonest, to go down into your basement, open up the box, and listen to the telephone conversations of all the people in your building. That doesn't mean that he has the right to do it. That's how somebody like that gets access to the information. So far as his having been a high school dropout, the guy was apparently a technical whiz, and he did work for the CIA, which was probably where he got the clearance that he then kept when he went into and got a private job.
So you don't have any concerns that there are more of his type, with access to information that they may abuse?
No, I don't. I mean, do I think it's a substantial possibility? No. I think he's, if not unique, at least certainly very rare. And if a good example is made of him, and by good example I mean if he gets substantial punishment, then there won't be many more. On the other hand, if he's lionized and turned into a hero, then there will be many more.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are some, and I keep bringing this up because it was so strange. Michael Moore and Glenn Beck both called the man a hero. You could have a problem with the program, but you cannot, in any way, I don't believe, and I'm sure you would agree, defend the way he went about it and the actions he took, because it's obviously a felony, and many, including me, will call him a traitor.
It's not just a felony. It's also a really profoundly undermines a democratic system. People are elected based on their programs and policies. They appoint people to make decisions, and those people make decisions. If the decisions are wrong, then the people who appointed them can be voted out of office. You don't have some 29-year-old kid deciding that he knows better than everybody and have him make the decisions.
What should happen to him, do you believe, if we could extradite him from Hong Kong?
Well, that's a big if. I think that Hong Kong is a province of China, and the likelihood that the Chinese will easily let him go before they get whatever useful information he has, I think, is somewhat remote. But I think he should get a substantial prison sentence, if not life, assuming that he's convicted and he has admitted essentially that he committed the crime. So there's really no issue about that. So far as his motive. People do things for all kinds of motives. Robert Hansen and Aldrich Ames apparently sold secrets. The Rosenbergs gave secrets away because they thought it was the right thing to do. Apparently he's in the same category.
How much, and we're talking to a former U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey here on the Steve Malzberg Show, how much do you think the proximity of this to the IRS scandal and the other scandals influences the way the American public and some in Congress are reacting to this?
No, I'd have to be a pollster and a political scientist, and I'm neither. I think that this is something enormously different from those situations, and I think it's very important to keep that clear and distinct. This has nothing to do with the IRS, and it's got nothing to do with the other scandals. This is in a separate category.
I want to pick up on one more thing you had said about China. Do you believe that the Chinese will be debriefing him? Shall we say?
Yeah, I believe the Chinese will be debriefing him. I think that. I think they will take every step that they can to do that. And he appears to have. Understand? He said that he wanted to go to Iceland, I think, because they don't have an extradition treaty with the United States. Instead, he goes to China. The only thing that can do is to provide him, or so he might think, with a negotiating stick to use against the United States and say, look, if you don't agree to either not punish me or give me a lenient punishment, then I'm going to disclose all this stuff to the Chinese. I think that if that was his thinking, then he's sorely delusional, because the likelihood that the Chinese are going to let him get away without disclosing what he knows is remote.
And one more, James Clapper, as I mentioned, testifying today before the Senate. He testified back on March 12th, and Senator Wyden, a Democrat, asked him, he said, can you give me a yes or no answer? Does the United States collect any data on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans? And he said no. Is that accurate?
Well, I don't know what he understood the question to be, and I think that that's something for him to say. What he understood the question to be, what he understood about the program. And I'm not going to characterize his testimony one way or another. It is what it is.
All right, Mr. Attorney General, we thank you, sir. Thank you very much.